Welcome back. Today in this lecture, we will learn about derived data types. As you see in the screen, the derived data types is a subtype of different data. So we have already seen that data types in C++ include primary, which composes of integer, character, boolean, floating point, double floating point, void, and white character. In the case of derived, we have function, array, pointer, and reference, which we'll be discussing today. And there are also some more user defined data type like class, structure, union, enum, and typedef, which we'll be learning as the course proceeds. So coming to the derived data types. So by definition, data types that are derived from the built-in data types are known as derived data types. So we have some uh, primarily made data types. So derived ones are the one which are made from the basic data types for the user objectives to meet the user objectives. So it includes the function, arrays, references, and pointers. A function is a self-contained program segment that carries out specific well-defined task. So a function is a self-contained program. So this you'll learn about function, array, reference, and pointer detail in the module 2, module 3. Here just an introduction is given. So basically the function means you have a big program, find a particular objective. They will be having so many small programs inside the main program. So this type of correlation between the small individual programs to meet a uh, to meet a defined task as a whole program is called as a function. So a function is a self-contained program segment that carries out specific well-defined task. In C++, every program contains one or more functions which can be invoked from other parts of the program. So that's the thing. And in the case of array, an array is a set of elements of the same data type that are referred by the same name. So if you have a set of elements like you have to collect or input the age of the students in a class. So all the types are like we have the same data age but of different persons. So for the collection of same type data, we are using the arrays. So all these elements in an array are stored at contiguous memory locations, and each element is accessed by a unique index or subscript value. So it's about the collection of the same data type. Then a reference. A reference is an alternative name for a variable. So suppose you define some program with a day, then later you can change the day is called as uh, like a part of a week. So that means once you change the day reference to the part of the week, so whenever you use a part of the week, it will be directing to the day. So a reference is given from one title to the another title, and pointer it means the memory address. That means here the it's a variable and any values will be stored in that memory address. Suppose you're defining a memory address like definition, and that is, if we are defining it as a definition as a memory address, then any calculations which are done, which will the result will come to the definition. We'll see that as a problem, then it will be very clear for you. So, a function, a C++ function definition consists of a function header and a function body. Here are the different parts of a function. So we will see there is a return type. So a function may be having a value. The return type is the data type of the value the function returns. Some functions perform the desired operations without returning a value. In this case, the return type is the keyword void. Okay, so that's about the return type. Then function name is this is the actual name of the function. The function name and the parameter list together constitute the function signature. Then we have the parameters which will be coming inside the program definition, and a function body will be there. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. So suppose you want to find an addition of two numbers and the multiplication of two numbers. Uh, in C++, we have two ways of doing. That means either you can define both addition and the multiplication as in a single function, or you can separate it. Like the function one will do an addition, the function two will do an multiplication. So those comes under the function. So its syntax is like void my function. I have to type the code to be executed, and then it closes the syntax. My function is the name of the function, and void means the function does not have a return value. We'll learn more about this one in the coming classes. So these are some references for advanced learning, and detailed syllabus is available. So this is the syllabus for the module 3. So we got an idea about the function, and next one is the array. An array is the one of the data structure in C++ that can store a fixed size sequential collection of elements of the same data type. Suppose you want to type the sorry, you want to take the data of age. So type array name, array size. Type means what's the value you are going to input. As the age will be taken as the all number, you can define as integer. If it was 22 years, 6 months, something like that, 22.6 it comes. Then 22.5 it comes. It means you can should define it as a float. So defining it as a all number, it is integer. Then we are going to do the age. So age as the array name, and size you can define here number of elements inside the array. So if you are getting the age of 5 persons, array age 5, and you are inputting the values of age in the order. So when you are inputting like this, the 22, the first will come in the 0th position, second 25 will come in the first position, so and the 35 will come in the fourth position. Okay. So if we have 5 inputs, there will be n minus 1, 4 positions, including the 0. So this is how the program will look like hash include input output stream, hash include string, because you are going to add some string values into this one. So you have two header files here. Please note header file 1, header file 2, using namespace std, integer main. So this is the main program. String cast. So string is a type, because we are going to add the words, not numbers. So string is a type of data, and cars are the array name. You have four inputs equal to, in curly brackets you have Volvo, BMW, Ford, and Mazda. So four car names are there, and you are putting C out cars 0. So cout car 0. I told when these four inputs are there, the first one will come into 0th position, second one to the first position. So as a calling out 0 and returning 0 because you are not returning any values. So this will give you Volvo to print. So output will be the Volvo. Suppose this was car 2, then it will be 0, 1, 2. Ford will be printing there. So this will study in detail in the module 2. This is a reference. So we will see this problem to make it clear. When a variable is declared as reference, it becomes an alternative name of an existing variable. A variable can be declared as reference by putting the and sign in declaration. So this is very important for putting the reference. We will see this problem as we have familiarized with the C++ program now. We have the hash include input output stream, the header file using namespace std. Yeah, the another important header integer main. Every program starts with the curly bracket integer x equal to 10. End of the statement. Reference is a reference to x. So we are putting integer and reference equal to x. Right. So that means that the x, you have defined x equal to 10 here. So and reference means the x can be a reference can be used as a substitute for the x. So whenever you use reference hereafter, the value of x will be taken, right, and vice versa. Then after defining this reference, you have so this won't be read because it's with a forward slash. So mind that the commands with forward slashes won't be read by the computer. It is only for the understanding by the reader. So then you're defining reference equal to 20. So then you're changing here reference value to 20. That means whenever the value is changing here 20, reference is also equal to x. So this value will be also changing. Then cout x, x and line, then semicolon. Then value of x is changed to 30. Then you are again defining the x equal to 30. Cout reference and line return 0. So we're calling out reference at last. So at here x is equal to 10. To define reference and x are equal, then you give value of for reference equal to 20 is also equal to x here. Then you change x equal to 30, x equal to 30, we already know reference is also equal to x. So the default value of x and reference will be 30 after this execution. Then you're calling out cout reference end line return 0 curly brackets. So here again, there is no input. C input is not used here because we are not calling any values from outside. We are giving some value inside the program itself. 10, 20, 30 are given inside the program. So the program once executed won't ask the user to enter the values. And end line is used for the printing efficiency. That means here two cout are there. Cout 1, cout 2 is there. So it will be printing for 1 and 2. As you have given end line here, when this command is executed, 20 will be printed, x equal to 20 will be printed. If you didn't give end line, then the cout for the next one will also print in line with that one. So we need them two line, like one line after next line, the second one. So that's why we are giving the end line. So we will get the s equal to 20 for this execution and reference equal to 30 for this execution. Suppose if you haven't given n line here, this reference will come in the line of 20. So that's why we're providing n line. So hope you know now how the reference works. Next we have the pointers. I told it's about the address thing. Okay. The pointers are symbolic representation of addresses. They enable programs to simulate the call by reference as well as to create and manipulate dynamic data structures. So if you see the program, hash include input output string, hash include string. So we are defining the header files as IO string because we may use some string in the program. Then using namespace std with a semicolon, integer main program. Yeah, string. We are using the type of data string. Name food equal to pizza. So we are defining a string. So this won't be read by the compiler because it's with a forward slash. This blue won't be read by the compiler, and this cout are the like program outputs. So this code is made to understanding purposes. So a string variable is here. Okay. Then you are defining string star pointer equal to address food. So this star pointer is equal to address food. So, but at least this command execute. This will a pointer variable that stores the address of food. Okay. So the star pointer will take the value of this one. So output the value put. So if you put cout, uh, then the direction mark food. Yeah. Here you can see the backslash n. So this is a substitute for the n line. Either you can use the n line or you can use the within the double quotes a backslash n will also substitute the n line statement. So here a food is cout. So directly pizza will be printed there. Then you can see cout dollar sign food output the memory address. Then you can see output the memory address of the food with the pointer cout ptr. So you are seeing food, the and symbol, food and the ptr. So when you're typing like this, the food directly you know it's a pizza, and this string star ptr equal to and food. So this food is the memory address. So the memory address will be given here. So we have defined ptr as the address of food. That is the computer address of this corresponding memory location. So this will be printed. So now we got what's the address. So this is how the program works. So once again, pointers are a symbolic representation of addresses. They enable the programs to simulate call by references as well as to create and manipulate dynamic data structures. Next, we have the operators. So now we learn the various derived error type. Once again, repeating the pointers for address location. Then we have the reference to substitute the variable, array for storing or arranging the data in a particular manner and calling out. Then we have the function. To have a big function, you can divide it into small function. I told about the product addition, subtraction. Suppose you want to define a calculator. You want to make calculator as a program. Then you can define as a main program as a calculator, and the program function one will be addition, function two will be subtraction, function three will be multiplication, and function four will be the what it will be the division. So this as in a main function of calculator you have four sub functions. Then you can call the value as you required. If you want the if you're giving some values and you need only the addition, then you can call only the addition from the four functions. So that's why the functions are very important to properly arrange the program or to properly subdivide the main program to so many sub programs. Yeah. So after studying this, now it is operators. Operators are some works performing on the data. It includes the arithmetic operators, assignment operators, relational operators, logical operators, increment operators, and decremental operators, conditional operators. This will learn in the next class.